Gentlemen, let me tell you something that might stop you in your tracks. If you are over 60 and waking up all night to use the bathroom, struggling with weak flow, or feeling your masculinity slip away, it is not just age. The shocking truth is that the real driver of your prostate problems may be a simple vitamin deficiency. And here's the part no one will tell you. Just one powerful vitamin taken at the right time can begin shrinking your prostate and easing your symptoms in as little as 18 hours. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I am a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men regain their confidence, their energy, and their independence. I have seen thousands of patients who believed their only option was medication or surgery, and I've watched them transform once they understood the truth about their body's natural healing power. Here's the paradox. You've been led to believe prostate growth is inevitable, but in reality, the solution may already be sitting quietly in your kitchen cabinet. Not a drug, not a procedure, but 5 overlooked vitamins that target the root causes of prostate enlargement. By the end of this message, you will know exactly what these vitamins are, how they work inside your body, and the simple, natural steps you can take to restore your prostate health. Imagine sleeping through the night, feeling strong again, and living without fear of the nearest bathroom. That is what I promise to give you today. And stay with me, because in just a moment, I will reveal the single most powerful vitamin that I have seen shrink the prostate faster than anything else in my 3 decades of practice. Before we begin, I invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another important message about your health. And if this topic speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 to let me know how I can make this content more helpful for you. Now that you understand why vitamins hold the hidden key to prostate health, let's begin with the very first and perhaps most overlooked one. This is the vitamin most older men are silently deficient in, yet it plays a critical role in calming inflammation and shrinking an enlarged prostate. 1. Vitamin D, the silent protector. When I think back over the many years I have spent caring for men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, one of the most common patterns I've seen is this. Almost every man who walks into my office with an enlarged prostate is low in vitamin D. It's what I call the silent deficiency, because you rarely feel it directly. You may not notice aching bones or muscle weakness until it becomes severe, but deep inside the body, in the tissues of your prostate, the absence of vitamin D is quietly allowing inflammation to build, cells to multiply, and the gland to swell. Vitamin D is not just about strong bones or protecting against colds as many believe. It is actually a regulator of hundreds of processes in the body. Inside the prostate, it works almost like a peacekeeper. When levels are healthy, it calms down the immune cells that trigger swelling. It also helps restore balance between testosterone and a powerful hormone called DHT, the very hormone that fuels prostate growth. Without enough vitamin D, that balance tips in the wrong direction, and the prostate begins to enlarge, pressing on the urethra, making every trip to the bathroom a struggle. I remember one patient, a man in his late 60s, who came to me exhausted from waking up 5 or 6 times each night. He was considering surgery, but when we tested his blood, his vitamin D was almost non-existent. We corrected his deficiency with a simple daily supplement, and within a matter of weeks, he was sleeping through most nights. The look on his face when he told me he finally enjoyed a full night's rest again is something I will never forget. For him, vitamin D was more powerful than any pill he had tried. Another overlooked truth is how little sunlight older men often receive. Decades ago, you might have spent more time outdoors, working in the yard, golfing, or simply enjoying the sun, but with age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D, and many seniors spend more time indoors. Add in the use of sunscreen, cloudy winters, and it becomes clear why deficiency is practically the rule, not the exception. Correcting this doesn't have to be complicated. Some men benefit from modest sun exposure, but in most cases, a high-quality supplement is the surest way to restore healthy levels. And when vitamin D levels rise, the results can be dramatic. The prostate tissue softens, the constant urge to urinate fades, nights become restful again. It is as though the body finally exhales after years of silent tension. If you are over 60, I cannot emphasize enough how critical this vitamin is to your prostate health. It is not about quick fixes or magic cures, but about giving your body what it has been missing for far too long. And when you do, you may discover that the symptoms you thought were inevitable parts of aging begin to loosen their grip. But here is the truly exciting part. Vitamin D is only the beginning. Because while it is the silent protector, there is another vitamin that works like a shield, guarding your prostate cells from the daily wear and tear that slowly weakens them. And once you understand how this second nutrient works, you will see an entirely new layer of protection you never knew existed. 2. Vitamin E, the antioxidant shield. Over the years, I've seen many men come into my office carrying not just the weight of their enlarged prostate, but also the frustration of feeling like nothing works. They've tried the medications, dealt with the side effects, and still find themselves standing over the toilet at night, waiting for a weak stream that never feels complete. One of the hidden reasons for this ongoing struggle is oxidative stress, a slow, invisible process that damages the prostate cell by cell. It's almost like rust on an old car engine. You don't notice it at first, but over time it eats away at the system until it can't run smoothly anymore. This is where vitamin E becomes so important, because it acts as the body's natural shield against that rust. Vitamin E is more than just a nutrient you see printed on a supplement bottle. For the prostate, it's a powerful antioxidant that protects delicate tissues from damage caused by free radicals. These are unstable molecules that come from poor diet, stress, pollution, and even normal aging. In a younger man's body, there's usually enough antioxidant defense to keep things in balance. But as you pass 60, those defenses weaken, and the prostate becomes one of the first organs to feel the impact. When vitamin E is restored, it's almost like putting armor around your prostate cells, protecting them from daily wear and tear, and giving them a chance to heal and relax. I recall one gentleman in his early 70s who described feeling as though his bladder was trapped in a vice. Every trip to the restroom was uncomfortable, and he lived in constant anxiety about leaking or not making it in time. We worked together to adjust his nutrition, and I encouraged him to add a natural vitamin E supplement, particularly one with mixed tocopherols, which research shows are the most effective form. A few months later, he came back with tears in his eyes, saying that for the first time in years, he felt relief. His flow was stronger, the urgency had eased, and he could finally sit through an entire church service without the panic of rushing to the bathroom. That kind of transformation is not unusual. When oxidative stress is lowered and the prostate is no longer under constant cellular attack, men often notice a softer, less swollen gland. The urethra is not as compressed, which makes urination easier and less painful. Even more, some men report an overall sense of lightness and vitality returning because the body is no longer fighting hidden inflammation every moment of the day. One thing I always stress to my patients is that the form of vitamin E matters. Not all supplements are created equal. The natural form, especially when combined with a diet rich in nuts, seeds, and green vegetables, works in harmony with the body in a way that synthetic versions simply cannot. This combination nourishes your cells, restores balance, and quietly works behind the scenes to protect your prostate from further damage. When I think of vitamin E, I picture it as a shield, one that guards you while your body begins the slow process of healing. It's not about instant miracles, but about giving your prostate the breathing room it desperately needs to function normally again. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Because while vitamin E defends your cells, there is another vitamin that fights inflammation head-on, cooling the fire inside your prostate and allowing even deeper healing to begin. And once you discover how it works, you'll understand why so many men overlook this simple yet powerful protector. 3. Vitamin C, the inflammation fighter. If there is one word that I hear over and over from my patients when they describe their prostate symptoms, it is burning. They talk about the burning sensation when they urinate, the constant irritation deep inside, and the frustration that nothing seems to calm it down. That burning is inflammation, and it is one of the most damaging forces working against your prostate. For years, men have been told that inflammation is simply part of aging, something they just have to live with. but I've seen again and again how powerful vitamin C can be in fighting this inflammation and giving men real relief. Vitamin C is often thought of as the vitamin for colds or the immune system, but for the prostate, it does something much more important. It cools down the inflammation that swells the gland, pressing on the bladder and narrowing the urinary passage. When vitamin C levels are low, the tissues become irritated, fragile, and slower to heal. Every trip to the bathroom feels more urgent, and every night becomes another battle against sleeplessness. But when vitamin C is restored, it acts almost like pouring cool water on a fire. The swelling begins to settle, the tissues repair themselves, and urination becomes less painful and more complete. I remember a man in his late 60s who came to me feeling utterly defeated. He said, "Doctor, it feels like I can never empty my bladder no matter how many times I try." His tests showed low vitamin C, and his diet was lacking in fruits and vegetables. We adjusted his nutrition, added a vitamin C supplement, and within weeks, the burning sensation had eased and he was urinating more freely. He told me that for the first time in years, he felt like he could leave his house without being chained to the nearest restroom. That kind of transformation may sound small to someone who hasn't experienced prostate problems, but for him, it gave him his freedom back. What makes vitamin C even more powerful is how it works alongside other nutrients. When paired with vitamin E, the two act like partners, one fighting inflammation and the other guarding against oxidative damage. Together, they create an environment where the prostate can truly begin to heal. And beyond the prostate, vitamin C also strengthens the collagen that supports the bladder walls, giving men more control and reducing the sensation of urgency. It's not just about reducing discomfort, it's about restoring dignity and peace of mind. Many men don't realize that their vitamin C levels decline with age, especially if they rely heavily on processed foods or avoid fresh produce. Correcting this doesn't have to be complicated. Citrus fruits, berries, peppers, and high-quality supplements can all help bring levels back to where they should be. And when that happens, the results are often felt quickly. Less irritation, fewer trips to the bathroom, and a stronger sense of overall vitality. When I talk about vitamin C, I don't just see it as a nutrient. I see it as a calming force, a way of cooling the constant fire that robs so many men of restful nights and worry-free days. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. While vitamin C fights inflammation, there is another vitamin that acts almost like a hidden conductor, directing calcium, hormones, and cellular growth in ways that can dramatically influence the size and health of your prostate. And when you learn how this next vitamin works, you'll understand why so many men miss it. Yet it may be the key to unlocking long-term prostate relief. 4. Vitamin K2, the hormone balancer. One of the most overlooked vitamins when it comes to men's health is vitamin K2. In fact, many of my patients have never even heard of it until I bring it up in my office. Yet, time and again, I've seen how powerful this vitamin can be for men struggling with prostate enlargement. What makes K2 so remarkable is that it acts like a quiet conductor inside your body, guiding calcium to where it belongs, into your bones, and away from your soft tissues. Without enough K2, calcium has a tendency to drift into places it should never be, including the prostate, where it can harden tissue, trigger inflammation, and make an already enlarged gland feel even more rigid and uncomfortable. I recall one gentleman in his 70s who had been told by another doctor that his only option left was surgery. When we reviewed his nutrition, I discovered he was severely lacking in K2. After introducing a high-quality K2 supplement and adjusting his diet, within months he reported feeling more comfortable, with less pressure on his bladder and a stronger, steadier flow. He said, "Doctor, I feel like my body has finally loosened its grip on me." That's the quiet, balancing power of vitamin K2. But the story doesn't stop there. K2 doesn't just control calcium, it also works hand in hand with vitamin D to regulate the hormones that influence prostate size. When these two vitamins are in harmony, men often experience softer tissue, fewer nighttime interruptions, and more freedom to live without constant worry about the bathroom. And here's where it gets truly exciting. Because while K2 balances hormones and softens tissue, there is a group of vitamins that go even further, fueling energy, improving circulation, and restoring vitality in ways that can transform not just your prostate, but your entire life. 5. Vitamin B complex, the energy and circulation boost. When I sit down with older men who are struggling with prostate problems, one of the complaints I hear most often is fatigue. They tell me they feel drained, sluggish, and weighed down not just by their prostate symptoms, but by a deep loss of energy that seems to touch every part of their lives. This is where the family of B vitamins comes in, because they play a crucial role in how your body produces energy and maintains healthy circulation, both of which directly affect the prostate. Among the B vitamins, B6, B12, and folate are especially important. Together, they help lower a harmful substance in the blood called homocysteine, which, when elevated, damages blood vessels and fuels inflammation. High homocysteine is like a silent toxin for the prostate, stiffening tissue and limiting blood flow. By reducing it, B vitamins open up the body's highways again, delivering oxygen and nutrients where they are needed most. The result is not just a healthier prostate, but also a stronger, more vibrant sense of life. I'll never forget a patient in his late 60s who came to me saying, "Doctor, I feel like my body is slowing down in every way." His labs showed low B12 and folate. After a few months of supplementation, not only did his prostate symptoms ease, but he also reported having more stamina, sharper focus, and even a renewed spark in his intimate life. It was as if someone had turned the lights back on. That's the gift of B vitamins. They don't just support your prostate, they restore vitality to your entire system. And now that we've uncovered all 5 of these powerful vitamins, let's bring everything together in the conclusion, where I'll share why so few men are ever told this truth, and how you can start reclaiming your health today. Conclusion: the hidden truth no one tells you. After 3 decades of listening to men share their struggles, I can tell you this with certainty. Your prostate problems are not just the cruel hand of aging. They are often the result of your body quietly missing what it needs to stay balanced and strong. We've talked about vitamin D, the silent protector that calms inflammation and restores balance. We've seen how vitamin E shields your cells like armor, while vitamin C cools the fire of irritation. We've uncovered the hidden role of vitamin K2 in guiding calcium and hormones, and finally, the B vitamins that restore energy, circulation, and vitality. Together, these 5 vitamins form a natural defense, not just shrinking the prostate, but giving you back the nights of uninterrupted sleep, the freedom to enjoy your days without constant worry, and even the dignity of feeling like yourself again. I have watched men go from desperate and defeated to hopeful and strong simply by restoring these nutrients. And my message to you is simple: you are not powerless. There are natural answers within your reach, and they can change your future. So as you take this knowledge with you, remember, the truth no one tells you is often the truth that sets you free.